Hi everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, we are in the cozy plant room, going to take a peek at the forest of the variegated ficus, Benjamina style. Welcome everyone into the plant room on this chilly November day. We've got temperatures in the coming days, lows that'll be in the single digits Fahrenheit. I believe like 8 or 9 Fahrenheit. It is going to be a chilly one. So I'm starting the morning when it's colder in the plant room and working on one of my many trees. So we'll show you a glimpse of the plant room as it's right now, the state that it's in. But let's dig right into a tree here. And this is actually many trees. This is my Benjamina, variegated Benjamina ficus tree. That is several trees. We got a little forest here. And a couple of the trees here, the 3 main trees are definitely thickening up a little bit. We're getting a little bit of girth to them. So I'm hoping to get a little bit more height out of the trees here in the future as well, but not a ton. We're just going to take a peek at this. So let's get a little bit closer for you and see what we're going to do to trim this one up. All right, a little cleanup here. We've got a few dead leaves from the transition from the passive solar green frame to the plant room. We got a rock over here because we got a little bit of a wobbly one here. This was bumped a little bit. We'll have to maybe repot this one probably in the summer of 25 here. So next summer we'll get this thing repotted, perhaps in the same pot. We'll see what we've got to work with. So here is the Benjamina forest. And again, we've got kind of our 3 main trees, and I think all the other trees are cuttings from this set of 3. Or it might have started as 4 trees at just a box store. I think this might have been a Home Depot type purchase back in the day. So we've been slowly making chops to this tree, and these trees rather, and getting this thing to grow up. Now, because it is a forest, we look for more taller, slender trees and don't look for so much of the movement in trees. But I do have some movement on these trees where they could be pulled out and utilized as an individual tree possibly. But we're still going to give this thing a trim up and let it just shoot out some new growth here throughout the winter in the plant room. So why don't we start right in the center with this front tree. We've got this nice lower primary branch here, but look at how thick this division is here with this main trunk here and this branch right here. So it kind of does kind of a split here. So we can slow this guy really down a lot to let this guy catch up to this guy and utilize this branch for the future. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're just going to slow this guy down or we're going to cut this one down to size rather. And just for new plant room growth and see where things go. So right there, we've got kind of a little pad right there. So that pad right there is just coming up this way. Everything's growing out and up pretty flat, pretty nice. And on this, we got to slow down a ton. It's really, really thick. And so if you can see here, here's this nice big branch going way up here, really thick, and we can cut most of that down. We've got some secondary branches growing in here. We can at least cut it down to there, and then we can cut this down to there and cut this one shorter right here. We're probably going to go much shorter than that, but for right now, got some nice sap coming out of there. So here's another branch. So this one kind of comes around this way. So there's 2 branches growing that way. Now I like the center one better, but it's so thick and we're trying to thin this guy out. This one's going inside the tree, so we're going to cut this one back quite a bit right here. And then there's our V right down the center right there, which isn't the most attractive look. So we want to make sure that this branch here, these branches, still kind of fill in this little area here. So if you can see right there now, there's the wobbliness of this branch, comes up here and it keeps wobbling and going this way and that away. And we don't have any branches down here. It'd be nice to have some secondary branches like right here. These would be lower. It'd be really nice if that was down here. But it's not, so we have what we have. We're going to cut that shorter. We are going to cut this one way down, if not off. So let's just get rid of that one right now. Makes this a little bit more lighter weight over here. And let's cut this back to here for sure. That's just too much tree. And again, we're going to slow this down because we want this tree over here to catch up. Now this one's super high as well now, so we're going to go ahead and just cut this right off right there because we have a couple of branches down here and leaves that could become more of this tree. We have a dead branch right there, and this one right here is going back. We'll just cut it shorter. So we'll see which one of these we keep. There's a couple of branches right back in there, here and here. And this one's kind of dying. This is kind of scraggly. And these just weren't getting as much light here. So we'll see what those do. And then we can, of course, shorten this guy up as well. So there's that first tree right there. And you can see as I pull up right here, there's another long leaf right back there, a long branch that we can go ahead and cut that one down as I lifted that up. But here we go. Here's the first tree. Not a bad looking tree now overall. We got rid of this huge girth over here to slow this branch down. So this can maybe become the main trunk of this tree, and these two can be branches, and this can match this someday because this should be thicker than that. You know, it's the lowest branch on the tree. It goes to reason that this should be the thickest. So if we cut this whole thing off and make this the tree, it's got kind of a funky curve there. So I just might leave all that movement on there. I'd love a little back budding in here. So we'll see. We'll fertilize in the plant room here this winter a little bit and maybe see if we can get some growth. So a couple of branches in here that are just kind of crisscrossing. This one comes back from back there. We better get rid of that guy. And then I have to come back here. You can't see this, and just trim that up a little bit there, a little bit cleaner. Now see, this one's crossing this guy right here. So what if we just go ahead and cut that even more? And here's the tree right here. So we got all this nice movement of branches up here. Forward, left, right up here, back over here in the distance, and this one's coming back there in a nice position. This one's got some decent ramification. We're gonna actually cut this one thinner too right here. There we go, to go for these to be strong branches. Again, slowing down kind of that real top region so this hopefully can catch up. So there we go. First tree is done. Let us go to the back left side and work our way around because it's just easier. It's closer to me right now. We're just going to trim this one back right here. We're going to trim this one right there and get this one shorter. This has got some depth back here just a little bit. So we got this funky tree that's growing a little bit off to the left and pretty wild. Yeah, but we'll just let it keep growing and see if it can get strong in the plant room this winter. We did have a little bit of a moment or two in the passive solar green frame where some of the trees in my forest got a little dry, and this was one of them, and this got bumped. So there it's leaning far to the left. We'll let it continue to ramify and see what kind of shape this one can take in the future. We got just a unique tree right there. Cutting off all the dead stubs and seeing what that guy does this winter in the plant room. So there's that little guy off to the left. Now this tree was always a little funky too. We had a chop right back here. You can see this chop right here has healed up pretty nicely. It's almost closed, and there's this long branch, but look, there's no ramification down in here. We got a tip way up here with only a couple of leaves on there, so we'll see. We'll see if we get anything more to grow there. But right now it kind of keeps the pattern of the tree in the forest, and it doesn't have a big gap there without that tree. We could take that off someday, and we'll consider that, but we'll leave it for now. And we've got all this really big height again, so we're just gonna go ahead and come on in here, and we're gonna first give it a little bit of a haircut just top to bottom here, get rid of some of the girth on this tree right there. And that's most of that tree. There's a long branch here growing way into the other tree. We'll just cut that entirely off. Again, we'll cut that one shorter. And so if we move this tree over just a little bit there, there's our tree. And it's a little sloppy and messy in a couple spots. So we're just gonna go ahead and continue to, let's shorten this guy one more stitch right there. Now we've got this tree right here. So far left, we're kind of coming up here. We'll let some of these branches go here and see how they'll form again down here in the plant room. Couple crisscrossing branches way in there with some tiny stuff, some stuff that didn't get a lot of daylight, skinny little branches. So there we go. So now that one's kind of a little bit in better shape. You know, not a major chop. The tree is growing off to that side and doesn't have much life in here because it's inside the forest, so it doesn't get a lot of light. And so it still fits our silhouette and works pretty good. And I don't mind this leaf right here coming at the camera right now because it kind of hides the scar right there and just kind of gives this tree a little bit of forward life. But that one may go. As a matter of fact, we'll cut off the top part of that branch and just leave the bottom one. Then you can see that the branch structure in there a little bit more. So we'll leave that for the time being. Okay. Now that back tree is pretty scraggly. We got a broken branch off here. We could just leave that as a dying branch. We will cut this one off though. And there we got now this tall tree. Now let's just cut that off too. It's a nice, tall, scriggly tree, and we're just going to cut it down to size. Cut everything shorter. Looking at branches going in the right direction for directional pruning. And there's that tree right there. Very small because it butts up to this next one here. Not a whole lot to this tree. So that means there's not a lot to cut off except for some of the dead stuff. So we'll cut off the dead stuff and we'll continue from there. So we have the left half plus a tree done, right? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 trees and only 3 trees left. So we're a little past halfway. This one back here has a serious scar back there, but it's hidden by this front tree. But that one's been through some interesting chops. And so we're gonna go to the back of this tree to just give it a look-see here, and we are going to shorten these guys up like the rest of the forest. This variegated Benjamina has a tendency to get a little more scale in the wintertime here in the plant room. So I have to watch this one kind of closely. It gets kind of scraggly looking with the young new growth. So it's not great growth because it's in the plant room. And it's not, you know, got the full sunshine or even the passive solar green frame. But we're just again, trimming it down, cleaning it up. It hasn't been pruned for quite a long time. Now we have a really long branch right here. Look at this one. It goes way over to the other tree. So we just don't need that branch going that far over there. So it's kind of hard to see through the forest here, but we got a couple of branches right there that are doing okay. Cutting off some stubs. We're just gonna let things stay like right there. And so anytime there's like 3 branches close together, we're just gonna keep it to 2. We got 1 branch coming down this way, 1 going back up. Back of the forest, you really can't see it too much, especially with our front tree right here. So let's just cut this front branch off now that I see it. Okay, so there's that back skinny one back there, and they're kind of in a row back there. We've got the thick one here, here, and here. They are in different planes though. When you look at it this way, they're slightly different. But if I replant this one, I'm gonna have to shift the trees again just a little bit. So let's go to this next really weird. This is my slingshot tree, everybody. You see the slingshot tree, and that has a branch going right in towards the slingshot. Kind of a weird bow here. So this one's kind of a tough looking tree. Wouldn't be great by itself, so it is okay as a forest tree. And if you can look at this tree where the bow is right here, this slingshot portion, if we just twist the tree a little bit to the right, so that's more in the back, and this is more the main trunk right here, that might look best in the next iteration of this forest. So as we think of that, we'll go ahead and make those decisions then. But again, this part of my pruning is pretty easy nowadays. I'm not afraid to just chop away because I know how this tree is going to grow back. It's going to be slow, but it is going to grow back. We're going to thin it out, and it's in the plant room, but it's not major chops, but we're just cutting off most of this top stuff. And we're hoping we're going to get some interesting back budding and continue the journey of this tree. But we can go pretty short with most of these branches. So this one's going in a really funky angle, so I'm just cutting that completely off. And look at this branch from here. Beautiful branch placement right there. I like that right there. But it's way like 6, 7, 8 inches long. We're going to cut to an outward facing branch right about there. And that will promote this nice new branch that's grown. It looks nice and healthy. And which is good to see in the plant room so early on. And then we got some of these just loose leaves in here. And we have pruning stubs from last time, or the branch that died. Got a couple branches here fighting for our vision in the back, which is kind of odd. Cut one of those off, and this one's going straight up over here. So these are kind of fighting for each other. So we'll go to a facing branch to the right. Yeah, and this one actually can go off. Let's actually cut down to there and see what happens. Actually, I don't like that branch at all. We're going to cut that off completely. We'll let this one be the one that takes over this tree. And there's a couple long straggly ones in the back, so we just can cut those off. So it's a little thin in there now, but it was nice we thinned it up. So we got this big tall branch back there though, with a branch that kind of shoots this way. It's too bad it didn't shoot up in this way, but if we get a nice branch there, like if this guy, that's a dead one, this leaf over here, we get something growing back there, that's a possibility. So let's just cut it right there and hope we get something over on that side. Made a little bit of a hole right here in the overall forest design, but I'm not too worried about that now, again, because we're gonna let this thing grow all winter long. And then next summer, if we leave this thing to go, it's going to grow like crazy out in the passive solar greenhouse, or we're going to have that thing, this tree outside. Big old branch in here that's just, we don't need at all. We have branches falling all over the forest floor. Let's cut this guy out here because he's just so this tree is in really rough shape. We're going to cut that off. We're going to cut that off. No life there. We'll cut this one shorter. So really protected in the plant room now. We'll put a lot of artificial light on this guy and hope that it recovers. This one is kind of the toughest tree in here, but it's got growth, it's alive, and so we can continue to feed it and hope for the best. And it is an outside tree again, has some nice movement down at the bottom there, and it moves and shimmies over this way, and it kind of fills up the forest over there, so not too terrible. All right, so again, we take this tree and we twist it around a little bit to the right or to the left, if you will, kind of counterclockwise, and we'll be able to see a little bit nicer tree. Or we rotate it this way and make this the main part of the tree and slow this guy down back here. But we just really went to town on this tree and cut her down pretty significantly. We have kind of the canopy that we started with a little height right here and going down there. So we have a forest canopy, if you will, with some really chunky trees that we hope continue to have some fun movement up here now. So as you can see in these sections right here, we got some nice ramification. If I continue to get more ramification and our trees can become this tall in the end with a lot of ramification at the tips, we've kind of succeeded for the most part with a nice forest of trees that grow really tall before you have the branches and then all kinds of ramification. So as funky as this front one looks with these two big sections right here, if I can get this one to catch up, it won't be quite as funky anymore. So we'll continue trying to keep an eye on this thing and make it turn out as best as possible by controlling its growth and how thick these sections get. I could even probably cut this one off here to promote a little bit, again, less energy right there. We don't want this to thicken up too much down in here because there's a little bit of a bulge right there. But fun movement, and this is a kind of a fun tree from a distance. When you have leaves and a full forest or full tree effect, it looks pretty cool. So we'll leave that one right there and call that one quits for today. We'll give it a go-ahead 360 spin for you. So there's the front of the forest. We come on over to the right side. It's kind of a neat view from in there. I like kind of that angled view right in there. That's kind of fun. And then the back kind of flat. I got these trees. That's not even a bad forest front right there. Even though these trees are smaller than the big thick tree back there, you kind of see that tree through the forest. It's kind of fun. So that's where if you look at that tree too from this side, if you can see through the trees, you know, that tree looks kind of good from that side. Maybe we switch those around and make different fronts of our trees. So in the summer when I replant this one, we'll have some decisions to make and maybe we can make this thing look entirely like an entirely different forest. Which is what's cool about bonsai. We don't have to keep it the same way. We can repot it every couple years and change our design. Carnage cam. Here you go, Jay. We took off at least 60% of the foliage on this forest. And it's looking okay. It always looks straggly this time of year. And we can make a few more drastic chops on this, but I would prefer to do that more in the summer, pre-push in the midsummer, July, August months. So down in the plant room, I don't want to chop these all down really short because again, it's going to be in the plant room, which won't have as good a light and the conditions are just not as good as if it was outside in the summer. But we have a tree there, a forest I should say rather, that continues to thicken up, continues to make some strides. It's nice to see some of my trees. This is season 6 of Dave's Bonsai, and trees are starting to look a little bit older, a little bit more mature, so they're kind of fun to show. It's great to show updates on some of these trees because they have come a fairly good distance from when I started this amazing hobby. So that does it for the forest. Now let's just give you a quick little scope of the plant room and what I'm up against because I put it in here slowly but surely. There's a lot of trees. And I cleaned as best as I could before I brought them in here, and I'm already kind of tripping over cords, but let's give you a quick little tour of the plant room here. So we start with the table that's by the north-facing window in my basement. So you can see I have a couple of just par can type lights right there, and one of my favorite 12 by 12 lights. I have a couple of those here and here. I probably should get 2 more here and just have 3 to give these trees all the light. But all my Portulacaria afras are here. I have a Schefflera there, the money tree there from my friend William, and a couple cuttings, tiger bark ficus cuttings, and another a narrow leaf ficus I recently picked up. And so a lot of trees sitting here on the top. We fit a lot in here. These are all my wannabe trees, and these are trees that I typically will then have as offerings at workshops and so on and so forth. A couple PAs over there, all the cuttings and the ones in pots. So there's the north-facing window. Now this is the southwest corner of this room, and there is the holiday cactus that I showed off in a recent post. My Happy Thanksgiving cactus, part of the road trip. If you want to go see Mathai Botanical Garden and Jack Sustick, look at that episode and we showed that. There's still life. Thanksgiving is tomorrow as I film this one. And then we have another slew of PAs right here. And then back here in the corner is all kinds of funness. We've got a lot of ficus trees back there. There is a Benjamina variegated back there. That's a solo tree, part of that forest, part of the cuttings from those forests I just worked on. There's my variegated triangularis ficus, kind of fun back there, looking good. Had a great summer this year. And a couple other ficuses there. There's some cuttings from the triangularis. There is my big Ming Aurelia from my friend William. So we're making that thing looking pretty good and full. We're going to work on that later on. And a couple other trees. There's my Melina tree, the parrot's beak. Shot out all kinds of new growth as I put it in here. I cut it back late in the summer before I brought it in here, and it's just shot off some amazing growth. That's pretty cool. And there's the not the money tree. There's the Brazilian rain tree right there, the one that I got on my road trip. And here's the one I picked up from the former MBS member. Well, he's still a member, getting rid of some of his collection. So there's some of the trees. I got my Dracaenas back there, the Dracaena forest from my son Toby. That was his 8th grade or 9th grade tree from science class. And a couple other trees in the ground here. Now, a lot of stuff that's down low. I want to get these higher to see the light, because you get some growth like this where it's really long and leggy. And you can get some growth like this that's super long and leggy because it's reaching up for this light, which is this super powerful light that I got from Candace. This is the Mars Hydro lamp, and it's just huge for grow tents. So it fills up this whole room with light, and it's just super fantastic. So that is the southwest corner of the room, and everything is really enjoying their space right now. And then my new closet this year. So this is the closet I've always used for my plants, and now this closet was storage for me. But since it's a plant room, I just thought I'd even add more plants. So here we go. Wow. Got a couple of big ficuses in here. My boogies are in here. My bougainvilleas from William. Some more PA cuttings. We've got some Green Island ficus cuttings. And then here's my, everybody remember the Jeannie's hibiscus? Look at that, everybody. Jeannie's hibiscus that we finally chopped. We got the big old slant right there, and it goes up, and look at all the growth up top right there. The tree is liking it right here. And then my cuttings from that tree. The small cuttings survived. So can we see that? And there's a bloom right there. There's a bloom right there. Can you see that bloom? Yeah, a little backlit there, but we got a bloom right there. So this thing is growing. The cutting, the 2 smaller cuttings, the big cutting did not make it. And so we had to toss that. So we got all kinds of trees in here, some big ficus. There's my tiger bark over the rock. The roots are getting bigger and starting to pop up a little bit and expose. We're going to work on that one soon, I think over the holiday break here. It might even be my next tree today. We'll see. So I'm in the middle of the plant room, and everything has got a place. It's a little messy, a little haphazard. I've always said this in bonsai videos, and it's true right now, and I've got to work on this for this room too. Make sure your trees are easily accessible. I do have to trip over a couple of wires and trees on the ground. I have to bring some of those up. I have to add a couple more lights and shift things around. If you have good access to your trees, remember you take care of your trees so much better. So I'm doing okay so far, but I got this holiday weekend and the coming weeks here to get this thing just easier access for all the trees for watering and best light conditions. And so we'll continue to work on that. And while I do that, hey, take care of you. Take care of your bonsai. And you know we're going to catch you very soon on the next one. Happy holidays, everybody.